So Vivek Ramaswamy was doing a town hall in the state of Iowa. Vivek is obviously running for the president of the United States. He's trying to get the nomination in the GOP. And the Iowa state of Iowa is one of the first states to have the caucus. He's obviously trying to gather the support there. And in the town hall, he was heckled by a number of protesters calling him out on the issue of climate change. And I think this was probably the same day that Vivek was heckled. I'm not sure, but I think it was. Ron DeSantis, who's also running in the GOP primaries, he was also doing some kind of a rally in Iowa, and he was also heckled by a protester calling him out on the issue of climate change. So please take a look at these two clips, and then I'll come back and discuss.
Speaking the truth, not just to the Democrats on the other side, but to our own side, the Republican Party, right here at home.
But you lie, dude. You're a liar.
Yeah.
You lie about the reality of climate change. You lie. You're lying to everybody in this room right now.
Sir, we're going to make a deal. You know what we're doing in this country? This is the beauty of the United States of America right here.
You are lying.
And you know what we're not going to do? I'm going to tell you, for those of you who watch the videos today, we're not going to have a security guard or police officer tackle him and escort him out of the room. Because that's not how we do things in the United States. You know what we're going to do is we're going to give, young man, you know what? You're going to have a chance to speak, but you're going to have a chance to speak after you sit down and be respectful of everybody else in this room. And I'm going to give you a chance to speak.
You need to respect everybody in this room and quit lying.
Thank you.
Americans the truth. Shut up and eat. Tell Americans the truth.
Sir, you can, I see right.
What did you get from fossil fuels, dude?
We're going to have a good discussion today. I promise you that. Because I'm going to speak some.
$50 million.
Thank you. See, I promise you, sir. I promise you, sir, you're undermining the only point you want to make, and I'm going to give you a better chance in a moment if you sit down and actually be respectful of everybody else in here. But there's a free seat. You want to come up right here? Come on up, buddy. Come on up. Come on up and have a seat.
Ramaswamy, you say that you care about our future
Thank
and
you.
that little girl's future. How
Yes.
much money would it cost for you to actually care about us? You're running a company that's making money off of fossil fuels that are killing our communities.
If you want to have a seat and we can have a respectful discussion, we can do that. But if you're not going to have a respectful discussion, this is not going to be doing.
How much money do you
So
get from fossil fuels?
I don't get any money from fossil fuels. You know who's my biggest donor?
That's not true.
That's actually absolutely true.
Your company Strive owns $50 million in fossil fuels.
Because index funds of every American in this room does, and we deserve to be proud of it. And I refuse. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. This isn't productive. This isn't productive. And this is what's wrong in our country. What's right in our country is we have the right of free speech and open debate. And I'm sure this gentleman, I think, has something to say about a similar matter. But we have a generation in this country where we have taught that the way you're supposed to win a debate or otherwise isn't based on region or merit, but to actually just shout the other side down. We don't do that in this country. The way we do things in the United States of America is we engage in free speech and open debate on the merits. We decide it at the ballot box, where every person's voice and vote counts equally. We don't shout each other down. So we're going to have a respectful conversation. We're going to open this up, but we're going to speak the hard truth. Speak the truth in public. That's what we're going to do at every step of the way. That's how we get this country back. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream, grounded on the First Amendment, that you're free to speak your mind as long as your neighbor gets to in return. As long as you're actually able to worship freely, as long as your neighbor gets to worship as he wishes to in return. Those are the ideals that our nation is founded on, that I will fight for until the very end. That is how we will revive this great country, and that is how we're going to rebuild this country, leading us to the future. Thank you for coming tonight. God bless you, and God bless our United States of America.
Banning China from buying land in the state of Florida. We did all this stuff.
How much money are you taking from oil companies? How much money are you taking from oil companies? How much money are you taking from oil companies?
This is wrong with the college system right there. That's Exhibit A. And honestly, you know, it's like, if you're going to do that, he was like stumbling around to get his flag out, like he telegraphed that a mile away. Anyone could have seen that. Some of these guys, they actually infiltrated. I did a town hall on Fox News, and I don't know if they infiltrated or were welcome to do that, but they were there, and they tried to bum rush the stage there, and they got taken down and done.
So as you just saw, like the contrast in the way that they reacted to these hecklers is like kind of, indication. I feel like it's kind of like an indication of like these differences between Ramaswamy and DeSantis. Because so obviously, as you just saw, Ramaswamy, he tried to like handle the situation in more mature way. He didn't like get the police and like have the heckler go out of the room or anything. He tried to engage with them civil way, which I do give him credit for, if even if it's like the protesters that are not obviously supportive of you. He tried to handle it in a mature way. But on the other hand, DeSantis, he like so Vivek said that it's it's not American to like have these hecklers like go away with the force of the police. He said something along those lines, as you just heard, but that seems to have been the like exact thing that DeSantis did towards towards the heckler, right? I feel like this difference in the how they've handled it is kind of like an indication of like their differences as a whole, like their campaign as a whole, because Ramaswamy, I don't support him at all, like in terms of policies. I'm gonna get to it in a second, but in terms of like climate change, I don't support him at all. Like he's full like pro fossil fuels, like that is very, very, genocidal towards the planet, and I don't support it at all. But I have to admit that he's like delivering a populist message towards the people, even though I don't like support what he's saying in terms of like the content of what he's saying. But this election is the first time he's in this like political field. He was just an entrepreneur before entering the race, and I feel like his ability to like be an anti-establishment like populist voice in this election is what like led him to be in the debate stage. And he's polling somewhat well for like a person that hasn't had any like political career before, or like he wasn't even famous before this election, to be honest. Like I haven't heard of him before this election. So but on the other hand, like DeSantis, he's just like not good at like delivering for the people. Like he doesn't have like those abilities that Vivek has. Like there's nothing unique to his like rhetoric. He's just a boring ass like right-wing anti-woke boring politician, and he's like very authoritarian in terms of like the issues too. Like he said that he's gonna crack down on these like Black Lives Matter protests more violently than Trump has. Like he said he's gonna deploy troops in the cities. So like very authoritarian, and I think this way of how he handled this heckler like is kind of like an indication of like his authoritarian components in his campaign. So that's first thing I wanted to say. And also on the like the details of what the hecklers were calling them out on, they were all obviously calling the DeSantis and Ramaswamy out on the issue of climate change. Obviously, I'm 100% on board with the hecklers in terms of the issues. Both Ramaswamy and DeSantis, they like deny that climate change is a serious issue that the country has to like tackle politically. Like Ramaswamy, I think he said that like climate change is a hoax. He literally said that. So the protesters were 100% correct in calling him out. And DeSantis, I don't know if he's like as extreme as Ramaswamy on this issue, but he's obviously also very pro fossil fuels, and he doesn't take the issue of climate change seriously. So I 100% on board with the protester on this. And in terms of like how protesters like protested towards these politicians, I think the guy that protested towards DeSantis, he did everything right. Like DeSantis didn't seem to be willing to engage with the protester. He just dragged him out. So I feel like he did his job by like exposing DeSantis as this authoritarian person that's not willing to like engage with these protesters that are like not in agreement with you. He's a very authoritarian, dictatorial, like boring ass conservative politician. But in terms of like Ramaswamy, how the protesters handled the situation, I do think like they were obviously 100% correct to like go to the town hall and heckle because as I just said, he's terrible on the issue of climate change. But I do think like he was trying to like engage with them in a civil way. So maybe it would have been better if they like let him speak and then respond, because if you let him speak, like he's just gonna expose himself as like a pro fossil fuel right wing grifter that doesn't care about the climate change and the future of the planet. If you are a serious person that cares about the science and the future of the planet, you'll see that there's a lot of natural disasters going on around the world right now. The last year was the hottest year on record, and 2024 is predicted to be hotter than 2023, which was the hottest year on record. So this year is probably gonna be the hottest year on record also. So like we can't like just let this happen. If we just keep on burning fossil fuels and like burning this planet until the end of time, like we are not gonna have a sustainable future. So if you're a serious person, like you would be concerned about these things. But these right-wing grifters like Ramaswamy, they don't care about those things. And like Ramaswamy tries to pose himself as a anti-establishment, and as I said, like he's good at like delivering these narratives. But if you look at like the details of what he's saying, like fossil fuels, which is a industry which has been like funding these corrupt politicians for a long time, they're like the establishment of the establishment people. Like if you're not gonna challenge those like the fossil fuel industry, like I don't see like how you are a real anti-establishment. Like if you want to be a true anti-establishment, you have to call them out too. So like I think Ramaswamy is terrible on these issues, but he was at least like trying to engage in a civil way. So if the protesters just let him speak for like a minute or something, he'll just try expose himself as a grifter that doesn't care about the planet. So yeah, I do think that the hecklers that went to the Ramaswamy town hall, maybe they could have done it a little better, because like what's important is to like get more people on your side, right? So it's one thing to like heckle in like these town halls. I do like support doing that in towards like these corrupt pro fossil fuel anti-planet politicians like Ramaswamy and DeSantis. But if the politician is trying to like engage with you in a civil way, like I feel like protesters should at least like give a chance to act like engage in a civil conversation. Because if like there are like these audience, like obviously I'm sure that most of them are like supportive towards the candidate that's speaking. So someone like trying to like attack that candidate with like in an emotional way, like even if the substance of what the protester is saying is correct, like the audience wouldn't be like willing to listen to you, right? So I think it's good to like heckle towards these politicians. And if like these police or security guards like drags you out, then like you have done your job. Like you couldn't like engage within them in a civil way. So and that's what happened. It looks like in the DeSantis rally. So I don't think he did anything wrong. But in terms of like the Ramaswamy rally or the town hall, the first thing they did was like calling him a liar. I do think that's a good thing. Like I do support doing that, because he is a liar and he's not engaging in an honest discussion when in terms of like climate policies. But he did try to engage in a civil conversation. So I think it would have been better to just let him speak and then respond in a civil conversation, because most Americans think that climate change is real, and like maybe like some people in the audience don't know about what like Ramaswamy's stance is on the climate change is. So like if you expose them if you expose that by having a civil conversation, maybe some of them will come to your side. So I think it would have been better if they handle it like that. But like it's easy for me to just say it like in sitting in my own room, and like I get why you would be emotional when it comes to like confronting the politicians like this. Like maybe if I were there, I probably would have like I'm not like confident that I would have handled it in like a civil way, that I'm saying like they should have. So I'm not like saying that they did something wrong, but I just think it would have been better if they handled it like that. But still, I still think I still have a lot of respect for everyone that's trying to achieve the climate justice. I'm on board with them 100%. So, and Ramaswamy and DeSantis and all of the politicians, including the Democrats and Republicans, especially in the GOP primary, they're all like pro fossil fuel, don't care about the climate change, doesn't care take the issue seriously. And also like Biden is also like not doing enough in terms of climate change. Like sure, he is better than like all of the Republican candidates. He went back into the Paris Accord, and that was good because Trump went out of it when he was president. So he's like lesser of the two evils when it becomes to like Biden versus like some Republican nominee who's probably going to be Trump. That's like 90% sure. He's trading ahead of Nikki Haley, who's in the second place. But Biden's also bad on the climate policy. So that's why I'm supporting Marianne Williamson, who's the only candidate that's taking the issue seriously. That's all for now. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.